him to ask if he would be willing to come in and share his viewpoint from the Iowa Business Council, and he agreed to do so, and the floor is yours. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Senator. Well, good afternoon. As Senator Birnbach said, I'm Elliott Smith, Executive Director of the Iowa Business Council. The Council does very much appreciate this opportunity to appear before this honorable body today and its esteemed members. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Business Council, it's a statewide, nonpartisan economic development advocacy group. Business Council membership consists of 24 individuals. These are 20 CEOs of the state's largest corporations, the 3 public university presidents, and the president of Iowa's largest banking association. Founded in 1985, the council members work to identify economic issues, evaluate options, and assist in implementing solutions, generally through collaborative public-private partnerships. Collectively, these companies and institutions employ nearly 250,000 Iowans and have committed billions of dollars in capital investment to the state. On an annual basis, several $100 million in financial contributions and thousands of volunteer hours are directed to numerous charitable causes around Iowa. IBC members also lead in technology innovation with billions of dollars spent and grants procured for research and development. I say all that because, in short, the Iowa Business Council member companies and institutions have a vested interest and tremendous stake in the future of the state. To be very clear, I am not here today to advocate for or against any political position involved with the issue of early childhood education. That certain elected officials or a specific political party may have supported or opposed certified pre-K programs before today has no bearing on this testimony. Nor am I here to review or reiterate the many important social aspects attached to this issue. Though the Business Council would respectfully suggest that a truly thoughtful and thorough discussion of early childhood education includes the much publicized considerations of return on investment and the long-term impact of high-quality pre-K programs that they have on improved school performance, lower dropout rates, and increased lifelong learning potential. To ignore these factors is to engage in a debate that is short-sighted and fundamentally flawed. Rather, I am here today to explain the fairly straightforward and simple business case for supporting universal access to certified pre-K programs in the state of Iowa. Make no mistake, Iowa companies are engaged in a global war for talent. Maintaining a competitive business posture and offering an attractive place for employees to work and live is critically important, not only to large business and education concerns, but also to many small and mid-sized companies which contribute daily to our state's economic growth and success. The challenge before us is determining how to leverage Iowa's competitive advantages and mitigate its identified weaknesses. Strategies must be formed and implemented that focus on setting our state apart, building a reputation for Iowa as a strong, vigorous, and welcoming business climate that attracts a skilled and diverse workforce. However, some stark realities exist in this instance. One of these is the latest U.S. Census data, which indicates that Iowa lags in population growth. Again, as it has for most of the last 100 years or so. It's been said that Iowa's greatest export isn't Pioneer hybrid corn, or Cargill soybeans, or Rockwell Collins electronic parts, or John Deere tractors, or Wells Blue Bunny ice cream, or even Principal Financial Group 401k plans. Rather, it's our well-educated young people. For nearly 20 years, Iowa employers have been saying they need up to 200,000 new workers to replace those who are retiring, as well as to fill new jobs that are being created. This includes full-time and part-time employees at all levels: laborers, skilled tradespeople, customer service representatives, healthcare workers, as well as those who possess advanced degrees in fields such as science, math, and engineering. With 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every single day in this country now, workforce shortage problems have emerged as the most significant barrier to economic development. In Iowa, solving this problem will require new creative partnerships on scales both regionally and statewide that have never been attempted before. If the workforce issue is not addressed, Iowa can expect stagnation in terms of its economy, which will result in continued population declines, a drag on the gross state product, and a compromised quality of life. Iowa is not alone in this struggle, however. Many of our peer states are facing the same problem. More and more of them these days, in their efforts to attract new workforce prospects, tout the quality of and excellence of their education systems generally, and quite often their pre-K education programs specifically, particularly when targeting prospective hires that have young children or soon expect to start a family. Oklahoma, Florida, Georgia, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Texas, South Carolina, Massachusetts. In total, 38 states in this country promote some form of state-funded preschool programming. Just a week or two ago, I received a glowing email from my counterpart in Ohio, at the Ohio Business Roundtable, to which was attached this 30-page document entitled "The Talent Challenge: Ensuring Kindergarten Readiness by 2020." Their stated call to action is that by the end of this decade, 90% of Ohio children entering school will be ready to succeed in kindergarten. Don't think for a second that is not an effective recruiting tool. Complacency related to the perceived quality of our state education system has taken its toll in Iowa. Though we may have been regularly ranked as a top state for system quality and student performance during the first 5 or 6 decades of last century, it has been a slow and gradual descent downward since then, to the point where measures such as the National Assessment of Educational Performance, sometimes known better by its acronym NAEP, often places Iowa well below leading states in math, reading, and science proficiency for 4th, 8th, and 12th graders. Employers notice this kind of data when considering places to expand operations or build new. Prospective employees notice this when weighing the pluses and minuses of job opportunities in different locales. So too should Iowa citizens. There is both an economic and moral imperative in the degree to which we dedicate and target resources to make sure our youngest citizens, the next generation of Iowa's leaders, are best prepared for future success. It's hard to blame Iowans should they become indignant if we settle for something less for our children. The quality of Iowa's education system has been a top priority for the Business Council for many years. It's the graduates of this system from which our labor pool is stocked and replenished. Investment in human capital breeds economic success not only for those being educated, but also for the overall economy. National business advocacy groups pay close attention to the issue as well. I have a few quotes to share with you. The first from the Business Roundtable, which is a national version of the Iowa Business Council in terms of focus and nonpartisan status and CBO membership, though there is no real direct affiliation between the two of us here. They say, access to early childhood education and learning opportunities is integral to helping today's children prepare for the highly competitive, fast-paced global economy. Here's a statement from the National Association of Manufacturers, or NAM. America's continuing efforts to improve education and develop a world-class workforce will be hampered without serious federal and state commitments to high-quality early care and education for all children aged 0 through 5. Then there's the U.S. Chamber of Commerce that weighs in. Achieving a world-class education system begins with high-quality early learning opportunities for children from birth to age 5. And then finally, from the Ohio document I mentioned earlier here, here's what a peer state is saying. We now know that the foundation for academic and work success is established early, long before children enter the classroom. Kids who start off right, that is, with a nurturing home environment, access to quality pre-K, pre-kindergarten, adequate health care, and good nutrition, are far more likely to succeed in school and become productive members of society. If we truly are committed to developing world-class talent and putting Ohio on a path to economic prosperity and growth, we must invest where the research tells us we can have the biggest impact, the early years. The Iowa Business Council is not ignorant of or insensitive to the financial issues our state faces in the coming years. Rest assured, just like our elected leaders, Iowa CEOs have faced many of the same fiscal challenges and resource decisions while steering their own companies and institutions through the rough waters of the recent economic downturn. Just like a private enterprise, when a state has limited financial resources, public funds need to be expanded in those areas that will result in the highest return on investment. Access to quality early childhood education should be available to parents of all Iowa children, regardless of socioeconomic status, with no gaps. Participation by 4 and 5-year-olds in these programs should be voluntary, with certifiable standards and quantifiable metrics in place to accurately measure the results of all publicly funded and privately based providers. In the end, the payoff for investing in quality early childhood education is a more productive employee and citizen of Iowa. An adult who misses work less frequently, gets involved with community and charitable activities, and supports the local tax base. The Iowa Business Council has been pleased and appreciative of efforts by previous General Assemblies to bolster Iowa's early childhood education system. The Council hopes that policy leaders from business, education, and government continue to collaborate in the effort to build a first-class public-private sector pre-K system, incorporating such a priority within the confines of a fiscally responsible budget. Leadership is a function of provocative insight, respectful collaboration, and the courage to act in a transformative manner. In business, as in most all things, there are 2 mistakes that can be made when setting goals. The first is not driving to achieve the standard by which all others are judged. The second is to not even start down this road at all. In the 4th century BC, it was Aristotle who said, "The fate of empires depends on the education of youth." Today, more than ever, the concept of economic development cannot be discussed without recognizing its critical dependence on a rigorous, seamless education system, one that is taught at all levels by qualified, enthusiastic teachers possessing a worldwide perspective. Students must be motivated to excel within a pre-K curriculum rooted in basic skills that also imprints a global awareness. We must remain bold and aggressive in deploying initiatives that spur the development of a world-class learning environment, one that does not wait to begin until kindergarten, but rather takes advantage of those early years when the majority of a child's brain growth occurs. Aristotle's words continue to ring true. The fate of Iowa depends on the education of its youth. Thank you very much for your considerate attention, and again for this opportunity to speak with you today.